Massive day on the South African racing calendar comes your way from Hollywoodbets Kenilworth on Saturday the 14th of December. The Hollywoodbets Cape Guineas, a stallion-making race, one of the most important races for the breed. An unbelievable roll of honour and also lots to look forward to as far as the clubs are coming to town. Pick 6 carryover, it's all happening. We'll talk all about that and more on this official panel discussion courtesy of Cape Racing. Don't forget to click the button, like and subscribe. Follow us away and get all the opinions, all the news, all the promos that'll be coming your way leading up for the next 2 months as we now hit day 3 of the Cape Summer Festival of Racing. Lovely panel that I got for you here. And even though Brett Crawford hasn't got a runner in the big race, he's had much success in the Grade 1 Hollywoodbets Cape Guineas, but we'll address that a little bit later on. First and foremost, I want to thank Brett for coming, sponsored by Hollywoodbets, of course, as I'm sure you can tell and well know. But Brett, as far as last weekend is concerned, thank you for your time. How does that stack up as a day to remember? Grade 1 here with Fatal Flaw in the World Sports Betting Cape Fillies Guineas, and day 1 with J.I. Crawford next to your name.
Yeah, look, Al, I think first and foremost, I think there's not many partnerships that I can recall that started with a day like that, especially a Group 1 and a Group 2 on the same day. And quite frankly, James's first Group 1 runner, a winner. So, and you know, he did all the work, brought it down from Joburg. So it was, for me, as a father, first and foremost, an exceptionally proud day. And obviously for Crawford Racing, I think it was a milestone.
And the big boy Oriental Charm, that was unbelievable. When I think JP described him perfectly, saying that's the horse you go to war with. But coming back from a layoff, not seen since the Hollywoodbets Durban July, and to do Oriental Charm things, that must have really made you beam from ear to ear heading into the rest of the summer.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, you know, he had 2 bits of grass work, and each grass got better and better. He looked absolutely amazing on Saturday. And as you say, you know, he's just that tough, nutty type of individual. He just won't let anything get past him, and he showed that on Saturday, and we've got a lot to work with. So I'm looking forward to the season ahead.
Brandon Bailey's here as well to give his insight for this Grade 1 race day. Brandon, second Grade 1 of the season here in Cape Town, third on the South African calendar. It really is a wonderful day. You saw your first Cape Guineas last season, sponsored by Hollywoodbets. The Klopser make a hell of a day, but as far as this race is concerned, just look at the roll of honour, it's unbelievable, and yet another great field to face the starter.
Yeah, absolutely, Ali. Racing purist, these are days that we live for, and I'm sure Brett as a trainer, I mean, this is what wakes you up in the morning to have horses just on the day. Grade 1 days is obviously where you get your owners, and I mean, just from my side, Brett, well done with all your winners over the weekend. Long may it continue for you and James.
Thank you.
I think Brett's got some nice runners, but we'll get into that in a moment. Brett has also asked if we can just leave him out for the first 2 races, being juvenile races, because obviously he has no runners, and we know that Brett's way is to bring them along slowly. There's a Taking the Reins with Brett that won't be too far away from coming out. That'll be very interesting as well. Lots of insight from Brett's side. But let's get into the first race. It's the pragmatic Commonwealth Plate over 1,000 meters. Only one horse with experience. That's number 3, Blown Away. Kabelo Matsanyani rides for Justin Snaith. There's some very well-bred horses here, because we got the half-brother to Proceed, champion 2-year-old Colt Gelney of last season, the former parental guidance. And we've also got the half-brother to One Stripe, who starts favourites in the Grade 1 Hollywoodbets Cape Guineas later on, the former number 8 Vapor Trail. But we've done our rounds around Milnerton of Brandon and I. Just quickly, Brett, I know you said you don't want to be asked about this. Vaughan Marshall with 2-year-olds, he's got an idea, doesn't he?
Oh, of course. Vaughan's always been a master with the 2-year-olds. You know, he'll definitely have his horses ready on the day, you can be rest assured.
And that leads me to Brandon. There's a bit of talk out at the moment. What have you heard?
Ali, I think our best guide is to go to the front of the computer form. They'll all run a place except for Vapor Trail. Just having a look at it. I see that's the only horse that's been said will need the run. Look, Ali, it's always interesting, always exciting to watch these 2-year-old races. Justin Snaith is well documented in saying that he's come out firing this season. He's not going to get left behind when it comes to the 2-year-olds. But Ali, the talk around Cape Town is for Gavin Larina's mounts. There's been quite a bit of word on the ground that this individual can run. So we'll watch him in the parade ring, we'll watch him move down to the start. This is a pre-recorded show, so there's no betting available, so watch that. And then Ellie, what is interesting, obviously I'll watch the declarations quite early, and Richard Fourie was put on number 5 parental guidance very early. I think a long time this has been wanting to come out and go very close, and I've heard from a number of people that this 2-year-old son of Korari can run.
This might be one of the most revealing 2-year-old races to date around around the country, because we know that number 1, She's My World, has had a couple of gallops. 4, Malmesbury Missile also comes out of a yard that knows how to ready them up first time, and the son of Give Me the Green Light's very well bred. Parental guidance, as Brandon said, well related, and Richard Fourie was declared almost as nominations came out. And then number 6, Better Man, who sounds like the horse to watch very closely. Gavin Larina takes a ride in the colours of Rakesh Sugalam in partnership with Jared and Lawrence Werners. It's hard to put your neck on the block at this stage and say win bet, as Brandon said before. The market comes out, but let's put them up as an each way. But give yourselves a little bit of wiggle room come race time. The same probably applies for race number 2, the Flash Summer Coronation Plate. This is for fillies. They go 1,000 meters. A little bit of form to work with here. 3 runners with experience. There are 4 walk rides and 6 gathering winter and 9 between the lines. We've got the first progeny of Hawam to take a start. That's number 7, Take It As Red. Pete Staines, runner with Grant Fanikak on board. But Brandon, any angle in race number 2 for all the noise in race 1? There doesn't seem to be quite as much in race 2, the opening leg of the Barpot.
Well, look, Justin's nice comments with number 1, Wild Wild Green and Music of the Night are very positive, Ali. So I think we need to watch those 2 individuals. Of the raced runners, number 9, Between the Lines, I thought that was an encouraging debut. Ran 3rd behind Black Cheetah, who's held in high regard. This horse got left badly on debut, Alistair, and she was staying on all the way to the line. I'm sure with natural improvement back at home, if this run hasn't come too soon, she'll probably be the horse that punters will be siding with. But again, we're going to have to wait and see what the market's doing when it comes to some of these well-bred first-timers.
And we know how much gravitas there is towards experience into these races. So that's just an early heads up to race number 2, as we now really get the ball rolling into the 3rd race. The Ozow Maiden Plate for fillies and mares over 1,200 meters. First leg of the place accumulator runs at 1:30. There's a field of 16 carded to face the starter. And here we have a little bit of form to work with. We also have Brett Crawford with 4 runners in the race. I think all of them are interesting to a degree. Let's start with this first timer. Do you know what that says? Number 8?
One? The first, Hurikwacha.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you name it?
No.
No. How's she going to go? Mare was top class. Our stable mountain.
Alistair, she's been a filly that's just needed time to mature. She's still a little bit immature, but her work has progressed nicely. I think she'll run a fair race, but I am expecting her to need her debut outing.
13 Preserve Forever. Are you expecting any improvement from her?
Yes, I am. She's been doing well at home. I think she is looking for a bit further in time, but at this present point, I think the 1,200 will be suited to her, and I'm expecting good improvement on her debut.
Right, the 2 horses towards the top of the boards from your yard. 1 Tuscan Romance and 6 Bazonda. I want to start with Bazonda. I called the race and I saw her come past, and I actually said to myself, who's that? I don't think I gave her a mention in the race. That's how far back she was. She was out of sight, out of mind, and she managed to finish with the pack. Were you encouraged with that first start? Did you expect it to be that bad at the start and that good at the finish?
Yeah, look, I think, she, like you say, she was a bit slow out on that occasion, race green, but, she only really got going late and, as you say, finished the race off really well. So her work has progressed nicely at home. She's definitely, for me, a filly that will be worth putting in your quartet on Saturday. But I still think the stable companion should have the upper hand on Saturday.
Getting out of the number 2 box. Is she becoming frustrating, or the fact that she's just churning money for Prashala Murad?
No, look, it's always frustrating when they don't quite get up. But, I think for me, I think she's in a very good space at the moment. Her work on the weekend was probably some of the best work she's put up in a while. So surely it's about time that she's due to get to visit the winner's box.
Okay, so I think with all that in mind, it sounds very positive from the corner of number 1 Tuscan Romance. Brandon, do we trust her in our bets though? Is now the time?
Well, look, Alistair, she's got to be a massive runner. I mean, I'm going to lean towards Englefield Green as being my top selection. Russian Royal, I think, going to be a nice horse trained by Eric Sands. Went to the front under a good ride with Gavin Larina, and she was doing the chasing over 1,400 meters on the 23rd of November. Now, Alistair, the line horse or horse that we need to use is Hope Chest. Obviously, Hope Chest ran 3rd in that same race where Miraculous won on the 5th of November. And I see that Tuscan Romance was beaten by Hope Chest last time out. So I'm going to use that as the line horse, and that's probably what's going to push me towards number 9, Englefield Green. Huge respect for Candice's filly as well, being from a distance. I know the computer form's made a bit of a meal of it, saying inconvenience twice. I've watched the replay. I don't think there's too much to write home about. But she would have needed the run. She was coming back from a small break, so she needs to be chucked into the play. But Alistair, those three horses, being the first leg of the place accumulator, you could probably bank any of them. Tuscan Romance, Englefield Green, and From a Distance.
Okay, well, it was my turn to tip in this race. And what I've done, I've gone with the Crawford double floating quartet. 1 and 6 by the field. Tuscan Romance obviously needs no introduction. Brett giving us a bit of hope there. And at number 6, Bazondra, I just like what I saw, and I think she'll step up, and I think she can run into the top 4. Richard Faree takes it out, obviously, because he is obliged and sponsored by Ridgemont, but I'm going to go 1 and 6 by the field. Bazondra, obviously, the main hope in the race at a bit of a price, but if we do get From a Distance or Englefield Green out of the top 4, then we're looking at a big payout leading into the first leg of the pick 6, which is targeted to get to 4 million rand. The Splash Out Victress Stakes a grade 3. There's a few question marks in the race because we've got no riders on the Bass Robinson horses at the time of recording, so you'll need to watch the press. We've got the undeniable class of Red Palace. We've got the undeniable class of Sarki, who may have just needed her last run. I know, Brandon, you're pretty keen on a runner in this race.
I'm big on Sarki, Alistair. I know that, look, we do get overly excited, but she's got to be a massive run. I thought 18 to 10 opening price was a very good price. That last run, well documented, she needed it. She's followed pretty much the same prep as she did last year. She actually won this race when she beat Bretzels, Happy Chance, in a driving finish. So, Ali, everything points to her as being the horse that they all need to beat. I want to go back to the run on the 23rd of November behind Double Grand Slam. She's now half a kilogram better off at the weights with number 1 Red Palace, and she beat Red Palace. And then on the 28th of July, she was drawn in the car park. I mean, 15 of 15 at Hollywoodbets Gravel, no easy task. She was doing the chasing, and on that run alone, she's 2 kilograms better off at the weights. And I'm of the opinion, had she been drawn better on that occasion, she wins. So, Alistair, I'm big on Sarki, and I think 18 to 10 is a good price.
Brett, do you have any angle here with no runner? I mean, have you spent any time looking at the opening leg of the pick 6?
Yeah, look, I'd probably agree with Brendan. I think Sarki, for me, looks the right horse in the race. And obviously, if you look at the rest of the field on ratings alone, Sarki off a high rating. She's got most of the field under sufferance. So I agree with Brendan. I'll stick with Sarki.
Okay, so that's the opening leg of the pick 6. Hopefully we can go quite light there, because I'm not too sure we can go light later on in the card. Let's go on to race number 5, the Evolution Maiden Plate. They go 1,400 meters here, and Brett's got number 11, Smart Horse on the race, a first-timer by Heavenly Blue, and the black and whites of Lance and Delma Sherrill. Starting over 1,400 meters, what can you tell us?
Yeah, obviously a little bit unfortunate that he's pulled a draw out there on debut. That's definitely not going to be easy. But at least it's the summer course, a longer running. His work's been really solid. You know, for me, on his work, I think he can definitely be a horse that could be a quartet horse. And depending how green he is on the day. So depending on how you feel about the rest of the field, he's a horse that you could possibly want to look at including in some of your larger firms. His work certainly suggests that he'll run a good race.
Looks to be quite a hot little maiden, this, doesn't it?
It is. It's very competitive. Obviously, a few of the fancied horses have a couple of wide gates, but yeah, I mean, I think it's a race that you're going to have to make a choice as to whether you're going to go wide or just put in 1 or 2, because obviously if a first timer were to win, then you would get the second horse as well.
Absolutely. There's a little bit of bait in the water. Brandon, what's your angle in race number 5?
Well, it's interesting comments coming through from Brett. Probably a horse we need to watch, Alistair. But I thought of the race runners, absolute 2-horse race on paper, 3 Green Garnet and Land of the Rising Sun. Land of the Rising Sun is a kilogram better off at the weights for that run on the 16th, or that run on the 16th of November. Alistair, I've spoken to Justin a number of times about this horse, Land of the Rising Sun. They of the opinion he probably should have been out the maidens already. If you go and watch the replay, he was always making inroads at the line. There wasn't too much in it between these 2 horses. So Alistair, summer course, you've got to ask yourself the question, gets a kilogram pull. I'd probably lean towards Land of the Rising Sun. I think he's on offer at the moment, anti-poster 2-1, and 3 Garnets is at 16-10. But Alistair, of the raced runners, being race number 5 in your exotics 2-horse race for me, and if you pushed me up against the wall and said I want to back a horse on the nose, I'd say go with Land of the Rising Sun.
I think it was probably a swinger race between the two, numbers 3 and 4, Green Garnet and Land of the Rising Sun. I do agree with both Brett and Brandon that there might be a few angles that you look at here, but number 3, Green Garnet, since coming to Cape Town, probably needing his first 2 runs back, has done most right except win, and Land of the Rising Sun just probably on the summer course going to have his best opportunity. As we now roll on to race number 6, it's the Stitch Class 3. They go 1,200 meters, and here I'm going to kick off with Brett again with number 4, Speed Racer, who fluffed his lines last time, but we can see that that was the exception, not the norm. A seriously consistent horse, a real trier. How's he going to do coming back from a small break of 77 days?
Yeah, Alistair, he knows, to be fair, I think he just probably needed to have that break. He was just a bit flat, his coat wasn't looking great, so after that last run we opted to give him some time, freshen him up. He's done exceptionally well at home. He looks like the speed racer of old, so I think we've done enough work for him to be competitive. So I would draw a line through his last run, and definitely a horse that you need to consider.
Brandon, how do you read the 6th race on the card? Lots of form to work with here, some nice youngsters as well.
Yeah, 3-year-olds are interesting. Kai Boy and Handsome Prince. If you're talking about weights, Alistair, there's going to be nothing in it on paper between these 2 horses again. That run behind Lion Ramparts, because Handsome Prince now gets a 2 kilogram pull at the weights, and yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure where they fit into the pecking order. Obviously, he was bumped up from a 94 to a 102 for running second to that very smart horse trained by Vaughan Marshall. But the older horses are competitive. They're hard hitters. They've been there. They've got the T-shirt. I mean, a horse like Nordic Chief, on his day, could certainly be right there. And then War Chariot is very interesting for me because he needs a particular ride. JP van der Merwe knows him very well. You've got to hide him as long as possible, produce him at the right time. So he'll be storming home late. And then Speed Racer's got to be put into the play with Dumbledore and even Riverstone. I don't like the look of it, Alistair. It's either going to be a case of the 3-year-olds are going to be far too superior for them, or you're going to find an older, hard-hitting, older horse that's going to be competitive. If I was my pick 6, I'd probably include a good few. I might even go the field out.
Okay, well maybe we can narrow it down a little bit later with a bit of help in the first leg of the pick 6. Let's go on to the grade 1, the Hollywoodbets Cape Guineas, 1,600 meters. Race runs at 5-4. I know Brett's got no runners here, but you've had your fair share of Guineas winners. I remember Elusive Gold. I remember Kilindini. Is anyone else I'm forgetting?
No, those 2. Those are the 2.
Takes it. Even though both those horses may have been under the radar when winning the Hollywoodbets Cape Guineas, there was no doubt about their class leading into it. There's no such thing as a weak Cape Guineas either. What type of horse do you look for in races like this?
I think, one thing for sure, you need a horse that's got a bit of race experience. The Guineas is a very tough race. You need horses that have been tried and tested a bit. Obviously, for me, I also like to see horses that have maybe been exposed in open company before leaving the 3-year-old ranks. So, if you look at those things according to what I think, then for me, One Stripe has done that already, and he's probably one of the few horses that has done it. I think he's been super impressive in everything he's done up to now. And although there are a few horses, obviously, you never know, unbeaten horses like Heather's Boy, you have to respect. But I still think it's going to be a tall task for the whole field to get past One Stripe on Saturday.
Overall, the quality of the 3-year-olds, I know that you'll tell me that the fillies are very good because you've got a grade 1 winner among them, but overall the class of the 3-year-olds, I suppose there's no such thing as a seriously weak crop, but do you think this one's sort of above average or sort of on the line?
I think, listen, to be quite fair, I think there's still, a lot of 3-year-olds out there that haven't been exposed yet. I think our winter in the Cape this year set us back quite a lot. But obviously, the horses that are in this race are worthy of their places. I think Candice's horse, Boundless Energy, looks like a very progressive horse. Maybe this race might just come a little bit soon for him, and he could possibly be a horse that's looking for the Derby, being out of a dynasty mare. So I think it's a nice bunch of horses in here. 8 on 18 has to be respected, good form. So, I think it's going to be a good race, but I think they're all going to beat One Stripe.
One strap for Brett. What about for Brandon?
Yeah, he's going to be very hard to beat, Alistair. He was super impressive last time, wasn't he? Yeah, he quickened up in very good fashion. I know the stable companion set some nice fractions himself, all out for 6, who is drawn 10 over here in the 7th race. But Alistair, he's naturally going to be the horse that punters will side with. I mean, he's 11 to 10 as it stands. Alistair, one thing that is a big tool, and I've got to commend Cape Racing and the team for that new tool that helps you study form, and it taught me a proper lesson last time, is the weights. These new weights that we pull out at the scale is unbelievable, because I obviously went into the race, and I'm going to use an example where that was double Grand Slam. Came on air, said Red Palace a good thing, not knowing that obviously Justin had good 23, 24 kilograms to work with. And come race day, if you've been able to work off all that weight, you're going to see a lot of improvement, and that's going to happen here with this horse 8 on 18. Justin did say that he needed the run badly last time. He's probably looking for a little bit further in time, but he did catch the eye late, Alistair, and I'd love to see what sort of weight he comes in on Saturday. So I'll be listening up to you, reading that out, but he's going to make massive improvements. And then we also need to respect almost like Great Plains. I'm not sure how to read into that last run, because the post-race interview, Aldo De Meyer was quick to tell MJ there was nothing to get overly excited about in that race.
That was a weird comment.
And I thought Boundless Energy ran his socks off. And I think that Great Plains is a very nice horse. So I'm not sure, Alistair. I'll probably have to go and chat to Justin and see what he makes between Great Plains and 8 on 18. But all things being said and done, horse to beat, one stripe. I'd watch for big improvement from 8 on 18.
Yeah, so my side is that one stripe will be a very hard horse to beat. Naturally, Gavin Larena takes the ride. Here's a top selection. Here's my win selection when it comes to the Hollywoodbets Cape Guineas. Great Plains, I think, has got a cracking turn of foot, but on the summer course, it's whether he can turn it on in time. I think of Hollywoodbets Gravel or Winter Course or Turfentine Inside Track, different altogether. But anyway, those are my feelings about him. Heather's Boy, don't know how to read. He's a grinder. There's no doubt about that. We'll know a lot more about him, whether he's up to the task. He could very well win the race, could Heather's Boy, but just the fact that he just never looks like he always looks like he's doing less than what he's asked to do, and those horses are always hard to read. Mike de Kock knows how to win the Hollywoodbets Cape Guineas. He's not here just to play a bit of golf. 6, 8 on 18, 8 Boundless Energy, top horses, but I think the Splash Out Cape Derby might be more to their liking. So one stripe horse to beat in the Hollywoodbets Cape Guineas. As we go on to race 8, the Ridgemont Peninsula Handicap Grade 3 over 1,800 meters. Brett's got a couple of runners here, number 7 and 11. Ridgemont obviously sponsored this race. Big owners of yours, great fun to have around as well.
Yeah, very much so. Big asset to the game. Obviously, a fantastic farm. Got some nice stallions on board now, and I'm sure a farm that'll just keep flourishing.
2 runners in this race. Let's start with the enigma that is the Futurist. Can you ever give any gauge of how he's going to run, other than the fact that he's going to go to the front?
Yeah, very, very, very hard. He's not an easy horse to prepare either. He's, as you say, he's difficult. He doesn't really settle in running. He's got pretty much one style of racing, so not going to be easy. He has come down from the half felt. He was up there. He obviously settled in well. He looks well. But obviously on his current form, he's got a lot to improve to be confident.
And then stable companion Infrared. I'm still of the opinion the handicap has not quite worked him out yet, but you can see why you can't really expose him, because there's always one step backwards, one step forwards.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think, his last run, obviously I used that as a nice hard race for him to bring him on for this Peninsula in mind. So the 14 was definitely too short for him. If you watch the run, I didn't think he ran a bad race at all. He stayed on. They just quickened away from him. So the 18 will definitely suit him. For me, he's a much better horse since we've cut him. This is now his 3rd run back, I think, from gelding. So I'm expecting him to run a good race. And he even though he's drawn a bit wide, 11 is not the worst. So I'm expecting competitive run, and he's a horse that I would suggest you include in your pick 6.
Yeah, absolutely right. I can have him, Brandon, but you probably have quite a few others in the race as well.
Not an easy race. Alistair, I think Triple Time and Future Swing will probably be my first 2 selections. They actually ran in the same race last year, and if you go and watch the replay, Triple Time was mighty unlucky. I know he's been a little bit frustrating of late because he keeps running second, but his comeback run behind Snow Pilot, the stable companion, was very easy on the eye. And Justin's often told us all, in that gazebo in the middle of the parade ring. There's a horse that you all forgot about for your 3 to follow for the season, and that's Triple Time. So we need to watch him closely. He'll probably be looking for a bit further as well, and a horse that we need to watch over some of the staying races. And then Future Swing, I'm going to put it down to going flat in his second run after a rest. He's far better than that performance behind Damio. We know that Holding Thumbs came out to win that listed summer stayers handicap from the same form line over the weekend. So those are the 2 horses I'm going to focus on.
On to the last we go, race number 9. This is a quartet race if ever you've seen one. Light and Wonder, class 4. They go 1,200 meters, a big field to face a starter, bit of form to work with, some younger progressing 3-year-olds, the likes of Arctic Wizard and Cork Bay and Worldly and Please Be True coming back to basics, and some of the older hard knockers here who are just looking for a little bit of luck and to come back to form. Brandon, I'm going to kick off with you. You've got the enviable task of opening the batting with the 9th race. What do you do?
You've got to think that 3 Arctic Wizard in time is going to be better than an 88, Al. Just having a look at that run behind Carboy, he was only a length behind him. Second in the race was Mon Petit Cherie, I think with a rating of 108 at the moment. Carboy with a 102. And I know that Greg Enyon does think quite a bit of the son of What a Winter, so he's got to be your obvious selection. He's at 9-2 as your favourite. And then the interesting horse for me is number 9, Please Be True. He's been gelded, he's been rested. I like the fact that he's up the straight here at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth. I'd watch for big improvement. He's a lovely looking son of One World, and he has got ability. And then the last horse, Al, for Quartet's trifectas at a big price. I think he's trading at 33-1, is number 8, Tough Terrain. Third one after the rest. He's dropped significantly in the ratings. If the speed's on, which it will be naturally over these sprint trips, big field, hide him away. He'll be working into the race late at a big price. But Arctic Wizard, he's the interesting horse, because I do believe that he's better than an 88 rating.
Brett, not to blow smoke, but it looked like 2020 Vision would be a Maiden forever at one stage. You've got him to be a 2-time winner all of a sudden. For all of his scratchiness on the way down to the start, you seem to have ironed that out as well. He's kind of matured into a sort of lovable trier, hasn't he?
Yeah, listen, he's shown me his game as they come. If this race is at Durbanville, I would suggest that he would run well, but that definitely seems to be his favourite course. Kenilworth, obviously, not so easy, but yeah, look, he's a trier. He'll be thereabouts. Very hard to have a lot of confidence in him. I think, as Brandon said, there's a couple of young horses that I think are going to make their presence felt here. So for me, I thought this is probably one of the most difficult races on the card. Arctic Wizard, and obviously Cork Bay, and I think Brandon hit the nail on the head with Please Be True. So I think the younger horses here would be the play, but in a pick 6 I would go as wide as possible.
We all agree with the young horse angle as well, because I've gone Quartet double float 3 and 9 by the field. Arctic Wizard and Please Be True. The youngsters, or 2 of the youngsters. Cork Bay I can have. I can also have Firing on All Engines. I can definitely have Tough Terrain as well. Golden Destiny. Bank Street, who I really liked last time, didn't run a race, but I've got blinkers on. So all those young horses, I think that could be the key and could be the angle when coming into the finale at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth on Hollywoodbets Cape Guineas Day. And then once that's done, we'll be in the payout queue collecting and waiting for the cops of Klopser to kick things off. Brett, thank you so much for your time. As always, brilliant to see you, and have a good one on Saturday.
Awesome, thank you.
Brandon, you too. Always a great time having you here, and may you enjoy everything that's to come over the coming weeks.
Thank you very much, Al. Always an absolute honor and a privilege, and straight after this I'll be off to go and steal the money on Sarki.
There we go. Sarki and maybe infrared as well going into this meeting. So that is a wrap. Hopefully it's been a good one. Hopefully we get in the payout queue when it comes to the pick 6. The R4 million target. Lots of pearls of wisdom coming from Brett and Brandon leading into this big day. It's the 3rd day of the Cape Summer Festival of Racing. Going to be a carnival atmosphere here at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth, and we hope that we see you here. Be a lot going on. You're all welcome. Book your tickets and come and say hello. Goodbye.